Have you ever wondered why some men vanish from a woman's memory in seconds, while others haunt her thoughts at 3 in the morning? Most women don't fear losing you. They pray you never come back. One man walks out of the room and she barely remembers his face. Another leaves, and she's lying awake, scrolling through his photos, replaying his words, terrified he'll move on to someone better. That's the brutal divide. And here's the sting: you probably already know which side you're on. Most men are the first type. Forgettable, replaceable, invisible. They're the ones who sit there waiting for scraps of attention, waiting for her text, waiting for her to suddenly realize his value. But let's be honest, she never does. She made her decision months ago, and while he's still clinging to hope, she's already planning her exit. I've watched it happen over and over. A guy pours his energy into a woman who couldn't care less. He leans in, she leans out. He invests, she withdraws. He fights for a future she checked out of a long time ago. And do you know the saddest part? He already saw the signs. He already felt her pulling away. But instead of acting, he froze. He waited. He told himself things would get better. They never did. That's the story of millions of men. Years wasted in relationships that were dead months earlier. Confidence destroyed. Self-worth shattered. Time they will never get back. And all because of one fatal weakness: they couldn't make a decision. But here's the truth. The gap between the men women fight to keep and the men they toss aside is widening every year. Soon, there won't be a middle ground. You'll either be the man she fears losing, or the man she forgets before the night is over. So the question is, are you ready to hear the one trait that separates the two? And more importantly, do you have the guts to use it? Stay with me, because once you understand this, you'll never see women or yourself the same way again. Picture this. I'm sitting in a cafe on a quiet afternoon when I spot a couple across the room. He's maybe 28, sharp suit, polished haircut, the kind of man who looks like he has it figured out. She's beautiful, glowing, but her glow isn't for him. Her eyes stay glued to her phone. He tries. He leans forward, tossing questions like lifelines. She gives one-word answers, flat, distracted. He laughs at his own jokes, but her smile never comes. He's there in the moment. She's already gone. Here's the brutal truth: her decision wasn't made at that table. It wasn't made last week. It was made 6 months ago. 180 days. That's how long he's been dragging himself through a relationship that ended before he was brave enough to admit it. This is the trap that kills men. They don't recognize when the music stops. They ignore the silence. They feel the coldness, the distance, the dead air, but they stay. They keep showing up. They keep hoping a dead flame will reignite. They whisper, "If I just wait, if I try harder, maybe she'll come back." She won't. She never does. And while one man wastes months chasing a ghost, another man is already gone. Another man knows the game ended long ago. He sees the red flags, makes a decision on the spot, and never looks back. He doesn't cling. He doesn't analyze. He acts. And because he acts, he wins. That's why the gap is widening. On one side, the men with options. They don't beg for attention. Women fight to keep them. Relationships bend around them. They live on their terms. On the other side, the invisible, the desperate. The men clinging to women who treat them like an afterthought. Every year, the canyon gets wider. And soon, there will be no middle ground. You'll either be the man she fears losing, or the man she barely remembers. Here's the truth nobody wants to say. The difference isn't looks. It isn't money. It isn't even confidence. Those things help, but they aren't the secret. The separation comes down to one skill, the ability to decide quickly, to cut off dead weight, to walk away the moment respect slips. That's it. That's the whole game. And yet most men will never master it. They'll overthink. They'll rationalize. They'll keep saying, give it time. But time isn't your friend when attraction is dying. Every day you wait, you lose value. Every hesitation teaches her that no matter how little she invests, you'll stay. And nothing kills desire faster than a man who refuses to leave when he should. By 30, most men have maybe 5 relationships, a few flings, some empty encounters. They call it normal, but it's a lie. While they recycle the same breakup, other men stack experiences 50, 100, more. Not because they're lucky, not because they're born different, but because they learn to walk away first. They don't wait to be dumped. They don't cling. They decide. And every decision hardens them, sharpens them, makes them impossible to replace. The tragedy is that most men are conditioned young to do the opposite. In high school, you watched the same 5 guys get all the girls while you stayed invisible. You learned to hide your wants. You learned that chasing hurt. So you stopped chasing. You stopped trying. You faded into the background. You told yourself to wait, to hope, to endure. And decades later, you're still waiting, still hoping, still doing nothing. So let me ask you, how many more years will you trade away? How many nights will you spend clinging to women who already made their choice? All because you were too afraid to make yours. Hesitation has a price tag, and it's higher than you think. Picture 2 men standing side by side. Same age, same city, same opportunities. But one habit splits their futures into 2 completely different worlds. The first man feels the shift in his relationship. He notices her texts are shorter, her tone colder, her smile no longer real. Deep down, he knows she's pulling away. But what does he do? Nothing. He waits. He hopes. He clings to a fantasy that's already dead. For 180 days, he lives in denial. Half a year of begging for affection that isn't there. Half a year of pretending that a dying flame can burn again. Now imagine if he wasn't stuck. Imagine he walked away the moment he felt the shift. In just a small city, he could start 5 new conversations a day. That's 35 a week, over 100 a month, 600 in 6 months. 600 chances to meet someone better. 600 reps of building confidence and options. But he throws them away. Why? Because he's too busy holding on to a woman who left him months ago. Now look at the second man. The moment he senses disinterest, he acts. No begging, no negotiating, no pleading for a second chance. He simply walks. While the first man wastes 6 months in relationship purgatory, the second man stacks 600 conversations, 600 lessons, 600 ways to sharpen his instincts. By the time the first man finally gets dumped, the second man can't even remember her name. And it doesn't stop there. When the breakup finally hits, the first man is destroyed, his confidence gone, his self-worth shredded. He spends another 6 months healing, trying to piece himself back together. Add it up, and he's lost a full year of his life on a relationship that died halfway through. Meanwhile, the second man never had to heal. He never allowed the damage. By walking first, he protected his confidence. He protected his value. While one man is crying himself to sleep, the other is stronger, sharper, and more magnetic than ever. This is what most men don't understand. They think inaction is safe. They think not rocking the boat will save them. But inaction is poison. Inaction is decay. It's like having a cavity and skipping the dentist because you fear the drill. You know the tooth is rotting. You know the pain is spreading. You know it's only getting worse. But you tell yourself, maybe it will stop. It never does. What could have been a simple filling turns into a root canal, an extraction. Months of pain, thousands of dollars. That's exactly how relationships collapse. What could have been a clean break becomes total destruction. Every day you stay where you're not wanted. You're teaching yourself to accept scraps. Every week you tolerate coldness. You convince yourself you don't deserve passion. Every month you excuse disrespect. You're carving your identity into a man who settles. The moment you tolerate disrespect, you've already lost. Not just the relationship, you've lost yourself. I once coached a man who proved this perfectly. In business, he was ruthless. He built his company from scratch, fired underperformers instantly, cut failing projects without hesitation. But in love, he was weak. His girlfriend disappeared for days, came back with flimsy excuses. He accepted them all. I asked him, if an employee treated you this way, what would you do? He said, fire them immediately. Then I asked, so why is your personal life worth less than your business? He had no answer. That's the disease. Men who are kings in the office but beggars at home. Men who know their worth in dollars but forget it in love. Until you kill that disease, until you decide your time and respect are non-negotiable, you'll rot in column 1, clinging, waiting, shrinking, while other men live in column 2, building, growing, becoming the kind of man no woman ever dares to lose. Pause this video, open your app, start 5 conversations, right now. Flip the switch and the game changes instantly. The moment you stop hesitating and start making decisions in real time, everything shifts. It's not magic, but it feels like it. Because while most men are trapped in the same heartbreak loop, you start stacking experience at a speed they can't imagine. Think about driving. The more you drive, the smoother you get. Think about the gym. The more you train, the stronger you become. But with women, most men never grow stronger. They just repeat the same breakup 5 times and call it experience. They chase, they cling, they lose themselves, they get dumped, they waste months healing, and then they hit replay. That's not growth. That's trauma on a loop. The man who decides quickly. He never repeats the same mistake. Every conversation is a lesson. Every date sharpens his instincts. Every short relationship adds to his playbook. He's not carrying 5 copies of the same heartbreak. He's carrying 500 unique experiences. That's why, after only a few years, he walks differently. He speaks differently. Women feel it. Men sense it. He carries weight not because he's arrogant, but because he's lived more in 3 years than most men do in 30. And here's the part nobody likes to admit. Society will hate you for this. They'll call you selfish. They'll say you're afraid of commitment. Your friends will whisper that you're too picky. The women you reject will brand you damaged. Why? Because your decisiveness exposes their weakness. The moment you walk away from mediocrity, you force everyone else to face the fact that they're still stuck in it. I've seen this play out countless times. One of my closest friends had everything going for him. Successful career, big income, charisma, drive. Then he met a woman, stunning but a walking red flag, constant drama, a lineup of male friends, a messy party past. I told him, run. He laughed, called me judgmental. 3 years later, she cheated with his business partner. He lost his relationship and his company in one hit. He came to me, broke and heartbroken. All he could say was, "You were right. Of course I was right." The signs were there from day one, but he didn't decide. He convinced himself to give her a chance because society told him that's what good men do. That decision cost him everything. That's the trap. Weak men believe endless chances make them noble. Strong men know mercy without boundaries is suicide. Every time you walk away from disrespect, you're not cold, you're disciplined. Every time you cut off someone who wastes your time, you're not cruel, you're valuing yourself. Every time you choose standards over fear, you're leveling up in ways the average man can't imagine. Here's the transformation. When you live this way, women feel it instantly. They sense you're not desperate. They see you have options. They know you're not afraid to leave. And that changes everything. The same woman who once ignored you now leans in. The one who would have taken you for granted now invests. The one who would have left you now fears losing you. I've watched men go through this transformation, broken and crying over an ex one day. 6 months later, juggling 3 women fighting for their time. A year later, that same ex slides back into his DMs, begging for another shot. By then, he doesn't even care. That's the compounding effect of decisions. Every fast choice builds momentum. Every boundary enforced raises your value. Every time you choose yourself, you become more magnetic. Growth accelerates. Options multiply. And it all starts with one decision to stop tolerating less than you deserve. So the question is, will you decide today? Or will you keep recycling the same pain if this hits hard? Wait till you hear what to do when she starts pulling away. Imagine you match with a woman online. The vibe feels good. You suggest coffee. She says, "I'm busy this week. Maybe next week." Old you would wait. You'd keep texting. You'd keep trying to earn her attention. You'd waste 2 weeks hoping she might finally show up. And when she does, it's either out of pity or right before she disappears for good. Either way, you lose. New you. The second she says maybe next week, you're gone. You don't argue. You don't push. You don't leave the door open. You unmatch. Delete. Move on. Because maybe is already no. If she's not excited to see you now, she never will be. And while the old you is stuck waiting, the new you is already on 5 dates with women who made time without hesitation. That's decisiveness in the real world. It's not reckless, it's not emotional, it's simple pattern recognition, followed by immediate action. She takes 24 hours to reply decision made. She's not interested enough. She cancels last minute with a weak excuse. Decision made. She doesn't respect your time. She keeps mentioning her ex decision made. She's still stuck in the past. No debates, no analysis, no second chances, just clean decisions. Fast exits. I can already hear your excuses. But what if I'm wrong? What if she really was busy? What if she could have been something special? Stop. You're not throwing away anything good, because good relationships don't begin with excuses. They don't require you to feel like a backup plan. They don't make you question your worth. And even if you are wrong, so what? There are billions of women on this planet. Do you really believe the one who can't send a text back is your soulmate? Do you really think the woman who treats you like an afterthought is your only shot at love? That's not romance. That's scarcity. And scarcity is the fastest way to kill attraction. The man who makes quick decisions lives in abundance. He knows there's always another option. He knows his time is valuable. He knows his attention is a gift, not a salary. And women feel that. They sense it across the room. They know instantly when a man doesn't need them. and that's exactly when they start needing him. Let me give you a personal example. A few years back, I went on a first date with a woman who was stunning, smart, successful, beautiful, the kind of woman men bend over backwards for. She walked in 20 minutes late. No apology, just assumed I'd still be waiting. I wasn't. I had already left. When she called me, furious, asking where I was, I told her the truth. I don't wait more than 10 minutes for anyone. If you can't respect my time, we're not a match. She was shocked. Nobody had ever done that to her. The next time she showed up 15 minutes early. Hair perfect. Dressed to impress. Nervous even. Why? Because she finally understood my value. Not because of what I said, but because of what I did. That's the essence of quick decisions. It's not about rudeness. It's not about games. It's about setting the frame from the very first move, showing through action that you are the prize, not her. That you don't chase, you choose. And when you live this way, everything shifts. The women who once ignored you now compete for you. The ones who would have left now fight to keep you. And it all comes down to one choice. The choice to stop waiting. The choice to stop tolerating. The choice to act the second you see the signs. So I'll ask you, will you act? Or will you keep wasting your life on maybe gotta, maybe text? Go delete it now, then come back. Here's the brutal truth: most men will never change. They'll nod while watching this. They'll feel a spark of motivation for 5 minutes, and then they'll slide back into the same patterns. They'll wait for her to text back. They'll swallow disrespect. They'll stack excuse after excuse. Why? Because pain feels safer than possibility. Because familiar misery feels easier than the unknown. I see it every day. Men show up after their 5th breakup, their 2nd divorce, their 100th rejection. They're desperate for a secret hack. They want a magic pill. They want that one weird trick to make women stay. But when I tell them the answer is simple, make fast decisions, they look disappointed. That's it. Yes, that's it. But simple doesn't mean easy. It means rewiring your brain. It means rejecting everything society taught you. It means risking being alone rather than living disrespected. So let me draw you 2 pictures. 2 futures. One is where you'll end up if you ignore this. The other is where you'll be if you act. Picture 1. You keep doing what you've always done. 5 years vanish. You've had maybe 2 more relationships. Both ended the same way she left. You're older, bitter, tired. You've lowered your standards just to avoid being alone. Maybe you're stuck with a woman you're not even attracted to, but at least she tolerates you. You walk past men with loyal, loving partners, and you wonder, what do they have that I don't? And you blame money. You blame looks. You blame luck. You blame everything but your own refusal to decide. That's your future if you stay the same. Picture 2. You start today. You draw a line in the sand. You say to yourself, never again. Never again will I tolerate disrespect. Never again will I wait for someone who isn't excited about me. Never again will I sell myself short just to feel wanted. The first year tests you. You face rejection. You spend more nights alone. But you're learning. You're getting sharper, stronger, clearer. By year 2, women sense the shift. They can feel your standards before you even speak. They know you won't beg, won't cling, won't tolerate half-hearted effort. By year 3, your options explode. You have more attention than you can handle. By year 4, you meet someone who treats you like a king, not because you demanded it, but because she knows you'll walk if she doesn't. And by year 5, You're living a life the old you couldn't even imagine, surrounded by respect, overflowing with options, unshakable in who you are. The choice is yours. But here's the twist: not choosing is still a choice. Every day you don't act, you've chosen to stay the same. Every relationship you don't walk from, you've chosen to endure. Every hesitation is a decision for weakness. Meanwhile, other men are acting. While you're making excuses, they're making moves. That's why some men have women fighting to keep them while others can't even get a reply. It's not about looks. It's not about money. It's because years ago, those men decided they would never accept less than they deserve, and they've been reinforcing that decision every single day since. So let me ask you, do you want to waste the next 5 years exactly where you are now? Waiting, hoping, losing? Or do you want to spend them building into the man women are afraid to lose? The clock is ticking, and weakness disguised as hesitation is still weakness. Here's your assignment. And let me be blunt, 95% of you will never do it. That's why 95% of men stay stuck, weak, invisible, forgotten. The next time a woman disrespects you, dismisses you, or treats you like an option, whether it's your girlfriend, a girl you're texting, or someone you just started seeing, you make one decision. Walk away. No explanations. No discussions. No, let's work on this. Just gone. Delete her number. Block her socials. Move on, because here's the guarantee. One of two things will happen. Either she comes running, suddenly realizing your value, suddenly offering the respect she should have given from the start. Or she doesn't, and you just saved yourself months of pain, wasted time, and slow destruction. Either way, you win. Either way, you're training the muscle that most men never build the ability to act. But here's the catch. Most of you won't. You'll tell yourself lies. But she's different. But we have history. But I really like her. But what if nobody else wants me? Those excuses are chains. They sound logical, but they're nothing but fear. And until you break them, you will stay exactly where you are, waiting for scraps. Grateful for crumbs, blind to your own value. Time is not your ally. Every day you hesitate is gone forever. Every hour you spend with someone who doesn't respect you is stolen from someone who would. Every second you delay is a second another man is moving. Respect delayed is respect denied. Understand this: the question isn't whether you get the message. You do. You feel it in your gut. The question is whether you'll act. Because the man women fear losing doesn't wait for courage. He doesn't need to be convinced. He doesn't weigh every outcome. He made his choice long ago. He chose himself. He chose standards. He chose decisiveness over endless suffering. And because of that, he never fears being alone. He never fears being left. He never fears being unwanted. When you're willing to walk away, you flip the entire dynamic. Nobody wants to let you go. That's the paradox. That's the secret society hides from you. The moment you stop needing them is the moment they start needing you. The moment you're ready to leave is the moment they'll fight to make you stay. The moment you decide fast and clear is the moment you become the man no woman dares to lose. Now you know. And knowledge without action is useless. The clock is ticking. You don't get to rewind your life. You don't get to buy back the years you've already wasted. But you do get to choose what happens next. In 5 years, the man who waits, hopes, and tolerates will wake up bitter, tired, invisible. The man who acts will wake up respected, magnetic, untouchable. The choice is sitting right in front of you. So ask yourself, Will you keep sleepwalking through life, begging for attention, living on crumbs? Or will you finally wake up, draw the line, and decide to become the man women fear losing? The answer isn't in tomorrow. It isn't in next week. It isn't in the perfect moment. It's in this second, right here, right now. Decide.